to go into something a bit more sinister, something a bit more terrifying, something quite a bit more scary. And of course, I'm talking about Hollywood remakes. They're remaking another one. Not really remaking, though. We're getting a sequel to a beloved classic. But the thing is, this beloved classic already has sequels. But apparently they're going the way of Halloween 2018 and retconning the shit out of them fuckers. And we're getting a part 2 to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. A little more than a year ago, it was announced that Fede Alvarez was set to produce a new film in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Was it going to be a reboot, a remake, or perhaps just another sequel? The film finished production last year, and in a new discussion with Bloody Disgusting, Alvarez answers some questions about the new Chainsaw and how it might pay homage to the original. Alvarez says it's a direct sequel, and it's the same character. It is Old Man Leatherface, revealed Alvarez. Everything is classic, old school gags, a lot of the approach we had with Evil Dead, the remake, I believe is what he's talking about. Never VFX. To do everything on camera. It's very old school approach to filmmaking. Vintage lenses, it's very similar to the original film. I really like everything he said there, by the way. The film was directed by David Blue Garcia, based on a script by Chris Thomas Devlin. The film stars Alyssa Fisher, Sarah Yarkin, Mark Burnham, Mo Dunford, Olwen Forer, Alice Craig, Jacob Lattimore, good first name, Neil Hudson, Jessica Allen, Sam Douglas, William Hope, and Jolene Coy. The idea of making a brand new direct sequels to classic films is nothing new. 2018's Halloween did a similar thing and broke records. Terminator Dark Fate did it in 2019 with not so great results. As of right now, there is not a release date for the film. I've gone on record in saying I am not the biggest fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. Really, the whole entire just series. It's just not my thing. Honestly, the movies, I appreciate what they've done for cinema. I appreciate what Tobe Hooper did. I think they have their place, and anyone who loves them, I understand why you do. But me, myself, I just can't get into them. They are just, like, dirty. They're like, they make me feel dirty. And they've never been my thing. So when we're talking about a sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm not a huge fan. However, the approach that they're talking about taking here, much like the Halloween 2018 approach, does interest me because for a few different reasons. First of all, everything he said here in the second paragraph, after it's a direct sequel, said everything is classic, old school gags, a lot of the approach that we had with Evil Dead. I don't know if he's talking about the remake or not. Never visual effects. Do everything on camera. It's very old school approach to filmmaking, vintage lenses, and it's very similar to the original film. I like that. I think that's really cool that they're going to do everything in camera. That they're not going to be using a bunch of, he says VFX, I think he means CGI and stuff like that. They're not going to be adding stuff in after the fact. And that's great. That's awesome. I think that's a neat approach. I would say novel. It's novel nowadays, but it just was how they did business back in the day. But I like that kind of taking it back to its roots and trying to emulate or be as similar to the old film as possible by taking that approach. That could actually work. That interests me. And also the fact that I honestly I don't hate it, but I'm not a huge Halloween fan. I know. Stop. Just lay off. The original John Carpenter's Halloween. I love John Carpenter, too. He's made some of my most favorite films. The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from L.A., or not L.A., Escape from New York. A lot of those movies. I love John Carpenter, but Halloween never did it for me. I didn't hate it. It didn't do it for me. But Halloween 2018, I really enjoyed. And that was kind of what this movie's trying to do, is go back and rewrite, not history, but just kind of wipe all that clear and go back to when it was good. So maybe I'll like this one. I'll definitely give it a shot because I like what they're saying. even if I'm not a fan of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it sounds like they are trying to be as faithful to that movie and its vision as possible, and I think that's really cool. So even if I don't end up liking it, which I may not, it sounds like fans of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre may have something good to look forward to. And my understanding is, I haven't seen a lot of the remakes and reboots, and there's been quite a few of them, and sequels to remakes and reboots of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but my understanding is people have not been big fans of those. I think they've all been produced by Michael Bay or something like that, but people have not really loved those. So maybe this is a return to form for you. You should be excited. But on the flip side of that as well, like they said, this has been done before. It's kind of becoming a bit of a trend. Halloween did it, had great results. Terminator Dark Fate did it, not so much. That one didn't go over as well. I didn't hate Terminator Dark Fate as much as some people, but I absolutely saw its flaws. I didn't think it was the greatest movie ever made. I didn't think it was the greatest Terminator movie ever made. And saying that it was the best Terminator movie since Terminator 2 really isn't saying much, because everything after Terminator 2 was severely lacking. Pretty much anything without James Cameron. But as far as this one goes, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's not like at the top of my list, but whenever it finally comes out, I'm interested in checking this one out, because it sounds like it's going to be, at least, if nothing else, I'll be interested to see filmmakers nowadays doing everything in camera and shooting a movie old school, like the old school way. I think that'll be interesting, and hopefully it turns out to be an interesting film. It sounds like it's probably going to be or an entertaining film. It sounds like it's going to maybe elaborate on some of those roots. It says it's going to be Old Man Leatherface, so I assume, I don't know how old Leatherface is supposed to be in the original movie, so I wouldn't think it would be based in nowadays, because I want to say that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is going on like 45, 50 years old at this point. So if that character was, say, 30, he'd be like 80 or something like that. Maybe that's the route they're going. But I wouldn't be surprised if this takes place in maybe like the 90s or maybe the early 2000s or something like that. And that would still classify him as Old Man Leatherface. 80-year-old Leatherface, I don't know if he's going to be doing as much, wreaking as much carnage as he was. Who knows? Might be a spry 80-year-old man. I mean, my father is approaching 80, and he's a very spry gentleman. So crazier things have happened. So if you're a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, get ready, because there is a new sequel coming your way, and it sounds like it may possibly be one that does the original justice. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Jarcast Movie Podcast. If you like this and want more, then check out the Jarcast live stream every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Central Time on the Jacob Anders Review YouTube channel, where you can also find movie reviews every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. You can also listen to the entire podcast on all major podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Google, and iTunes. So if you prefer audio, whichever one is your preferred, check it out there. Once again, I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching. And as always, stay sexy, YouTube.